Spice Island in the Pot is brought to you by Stumpy's Emporium and the Penny Savers Supermarket.
Spice Island in the Pot is back, and we welcome you with your hungry tummies. Thank you so much for all your support and viewership. Really appreciate you tuning in every Saturday to catch all the great meals. You know me, I'm your food designer, Arlene, and I'm always cooking up all the good food with the local ingredients and putting that little gourmet twist on things. I know you like that part for sure. Also, I'm always sharing my tips with you, hopefully inspiring you to get into your very own kitchen and share some of that love and some of that flavor. Today is one of my favorite days. Isn't every day always my favorite day to be here to cook for you? Of course. Today, I'm making black-eyed peas with pigtail, simmered down nice to go over some cassava dumplings. Yum. When I learned to cook this, I learned this one from my grandmother. I'm always telling you how I cook from my mother. This one, I learned from my grandmother. I was really tiny, standing on a stool, looking at her make this meal. I thought today would be kind of nice to have also a local dessert that I think doesn't even need a gourmet twist. That dessert is cassava pone. It's been a long time, I'm sure, since you've actually had a good cassava pone. Today, we're making cassava pone. So I'm gonna get my black-eyed peas, my pigtail, my cassava, my flour, and everything. Come back and start cooking. So I'm all ready to do my black-eyed peas with pigtail. I have all my fresh ingredients ready to go. Here I have my pumpkin and my carrot, and I've cut these into nice cubes like this because I want them to be cooked evenly. So I get this nice diced up. I have my pimento flavor peppers. This goes into a lot of our local dishes. I'm sure you realize that by now. Garlic, of course. A little coconut milk. According to my mother, we're just gonna put a tips for that little Caribbean cream that we like. I have my pigtail that I've boiled all the salt from already, or most of it rather. And of course, my pigeon peas and my spring onions, of course. So with the pigeon peas, they come like this. And even though it grows in a pod, it's still considered peas. So it looks like this. And black eye, there's the black eye right there. I guess that's where the name comes from. So what I've done already is I've softened it, or as we say here, we burst the peas. So this is about 3 cups of black-eyed peas with about 2 cups of water. You don't want to boil it. You kind of want to steam it into a texture that's almost cooked but not cooked all the way. So when you squeeze it, you have to give it like a little effort to get it like smushed between your fingers like this. And the reason for that is we pre-cook it here, and then we add the little pigtail to boil it just a little more for just about 5 minutes to get that pigtail flavor going through the through the black-eyed peas. And then we're gonna stew it. You know that process where you brown the sugar, get it nice and caramelized, and then you add the peas and the pigtail to it. Then we add our vegetables and our seasoning. So right here, there's just a little bit of water in here, not much really to talk about. I'm gonna add my pigtails, which I boiled before and I cut up. I'm just going to add a little more water, not to make it swim, because we just want to kind of simmer it in there to get the flavor. I'm gonna give this a little toss and put this back up on the stove to kind of steam and get that infused in there. Now, you know I'm always talking about moderation and salt intake. Here in the Caribbean, we get into a lot of salty stuff, so I like to balance it out. I'm not adding any salt to this because the pigtail has some salty elements to it. This can use a little touch of water again, because by the time it comes down, you don't want too much water in there. So this is good. I'm gonna put this on the stove with the lid on for just about 5 minutes. Get the flavors running through there. I'm gonna come back, cut up some of my seasoning for my stew, and get this pot ready. So my black-eyed peas is simmering with my pigtail, getting the flavor all in there. I'm going to get some seasoning ready for when we stew it up. So I have some pimentos here. Now I'm slicing these really nice and thin. I'm not mincing it like sometimes when I do, because this dish is so simple. I want all the colors of all my vegetables and my seasoning to show up in the meal. So I'm just doing this nice and thin with the seeds and everything. Like this. Perfect. So when we stew it, it's going to cook down and you're going to still see some color in there. There we go. Ooh. There we go. I'm just going to do about 4. 4 should be enough. Now, in my house, when we make this meal, my stepfather says, I don't eat black-eyed peas. Doesn't like it. So my mother and I made the meal. And long story short, he ate most of it. So he kind of likes it now. But when I asked him about why he wasn't sure, why he didn't like it, he said, I don't know. I think it's because of the eyes looking back at me. I don't even know if that makes any sense, to be honest. So this is my spring onions here. I'm just going to take a few. These also, I'm cutting these kind of on the side, on the bias slant, if you want to see. And you want to use a really sharp knife when you do this, because they kind of make you go teary. So the faster you can get it cut and into your bowl or your pot, the better for your eyes. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to do a little more because I don't want to waste these. Just get this done. So to stew the peas, we need to get our pot nice and hot on a medium heat. Put that vegetable oil and that brown sugar. You know, we cook a lot of our meals like this: stewed chicken, stewed pork. You know, browning the meat process is important. So I have my seasoning ready here. I have my vegetables here, pumpkin and carrots. Here we go. And my tips of coconut milk, a little bit of garlic. Unless you have really good balancing skills, I do not suggest you try this. So I'm gonna get my pot ready, get my sugar browning up in the pot, and then stew together. Okay, so let's get this stew going. So medium to high heat here, a little vegetable oil. Just enough to brown the sugar. This is about 1/4 cup of sugar. You're not necessarily going for color on this one. This is more for flavor purposes. So you don't have to be too concerned about the amount and what colors you will get. So this is going to heat up, bubble up, get nice and brown. Here and then here. See how nice? Perfect. These black-eyed peas with this pigtail. There's not a lot of liquid in there. Everything is mixed in. This is a really nice texture. Let me just see. See? Not too soft. So by the time we stew this up, it's going to be perfect texture. This, see, our sugar is now browning up really nicely. So we want all of them to be nice and even. All the sugar crystals nice and even and dark. So sometimes you can give it a little stir to help it along. I think black-eyed peas are just about the coolest, and they're so cool. A hip-hop band named themselves after the black-eyed peas. Everybody knows the black-eyed peas. They have that fun song, I Got a Feeling. I'm not going to sing. That's not happening today. So my sugar is almost ready. There we go. Just want it to bubble up a little more. As this gets hot, I'm just going to lower it just a tad. Save myself some burn marks. Perfect. See that? Nice and brown. Perfect. So I'm going to use a bowl to help me scoop this into here. So please be very careful when you do this. Get rid of this. And I'm scooping and avoiding whatever little liquid is in there because I don't want it to mix and splash and make a whole scene. Ooh. Perfect. That goes. Perfect. Getting all the meat in there. So we'll just hold this there for a minute. Get this stirred up nicely. So that caramelizing flavor is going to now enter into this salty, nice mixture here. Okay. So here I'm going to add my seasoning, get everything seasoned in. Already with just the seasoning, it's all these colors happening here. So I'm going to get this in. And as it cooks down, it's going to infuse the whole pot, make it really, really nice. Don't think for a second we're going to forget about what is here. This is going to come in to make a little gravy. Okay, so I'm adding my carrots. There we go, and some pumpkin. This is really just a Caribbean pot. See all of those colors? Really, really nice. All right, some garlic. This is just about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic that we minced up right there. And if you want more vegetables in your peas, feel free to add more. You know, I always say cooking is really just an opinion. So if you feel like it should have more vegetables, just add more vegetables. Okay, so this is all together, looking good already. So now I want to make it into a little gravy. So the liquid that is left here with the odd peas in there, I'm going to add this. There. I'm going to do just a touch of ketchup. You know, we like ketchup in the Caribbean a lot. So not much, because I don't want it to be too sweet either. And according to my mother, a tips of coconut milk. So I'm going to mix this. You have to monitor it because you want to just get this nice and simmered down and cooked together. The peas are going to get soft and the pigtail is going to get even more tender. So I'm going to check on this in a little while. I'm going to cover this up. Perfect. Cover this up. Onto my cassava dumplings. That's where we're heading back. Now this is going to cook up. I'm going to get my cassava, my flour, get my hands in there, put the love in the meal, and get ready to make those dumplings. The black-eyed peas and pigtail bubbling on the stove. So we're getting the cassava dumpling ready. So here I have 4 cups of flour. I have, which I'm going to throw in right away, 2 cups of minced raw cassava. And this could easily be done in your food processor. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of sugar. I like to put a little extra sugar in this particular recipe. And just a little nutmeg, because I think nutmeg is a really good flavor with cassava. Just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. So I'm going to mix this all together first. Just get everything mixed in evenly. So much things that you can do with cassava. It came all the way from Brazil. You can boil it, you can fry it, saute it, add it to stews. So much different options. So all of my ingredients are mixed together evenly. A little bit of water at a time. Remember, dumplings are kind of stiff, so you don't want your dough to be too soft. And I know I'm mixing this with my hand because this is how we get the love into the food, right? A little bit at a time. Okay. This is going to get nice and stiff. Then we're going to have some boiling water. Drop them in for that good black-eyed peas all over it. All right. Need a little bit again. Okay, so everything here is white in the cassava, white in the flour, but still a healthier option than plain white, I think. So, right, so already it comes together and it's really nice in texture. The cassava was minced nice and fine, but you can still get a nice texture in there. So, almost ready, almost done. Might need a little drink of water when I finish here, boy. Okay, so this is now a nice firm ball of dough. See? Not mushy, nice and stiff. Perfect. I'll get some off my hands. Okay, so I'm going to roll this out and cut them into little squares, get them boiled. Set my board. I'm going to do a little dry flour here, or a lot of dry flour, piece by piece. See? Because you don't want it to be sticky, because we're going to move it from here to the boiling water. So nice and thick, roll this out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Dumplings are not perfect unless you're doing something very special. So this is about a 1/2 inch thick. And as you roll it out, you can see the texture coming in. I can see all the little bits of cassava there. There we go. So there, I'm just gonna even it out a little to make my squares nice like this. Just going to put a little flour onto my, see, nice square dumplings. Perfect. All right. These are not square, but they will work the same. Last bit of flour, and I'm using all of this dry flour just to make sure that it doesn't stick to each other for when I move it over. So I just press this out. This is a slightly bigger piece. Okay, cut again. There we go. And all the different shapes is really what makes it kind of look homemade, I think. So a little yard food, as they call it sometimes. Okay, so I'm gonna get some water up on the stove to boil. Bubble, bubble, bubble. You want that raging, boiling water to drop these into. I'm gonna get my hands cleaned up. Then we're gonna drop these in. Check on our black-eyed peas and pigtail. So my water is boiling. Right there. I want to put a little bit of vegetable oil here so that it doesn't stick together. Drop my dumplings in. There we go. You don't want to put all at once. You want to put like maybe half of what you're making. Give it a little stir. There we go. Just to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. Right. Then add the rest. I don't know if you can hear it or smell it, but the black-eyed peas and the pigtail is coming along really good. Okay, so that's all my dumplings there. I'm gonna stir this one more time. There we go. I'm leaving it uncovered because if you cover it, it just boils, messes up the whole stove. So my black-eyed peas, almost perfect. So as I stir it, you see my seasoning melting, my vegetables you can still see. There's a little gravy there. Now generally, sometimes people, to thicken a stew, they would do like a roux of some kind, or they do like a little cornstarch mixture. I simply crush some of my peas, so I don't have to add the extra starch there. So I kind of just take the back of my spoon and I press. That makes it nice and thick. So this has been cooking for about 45 minutes. A good way to tell is when your vegetables are nice and soft, but not too mushy. It's a good way, because remember, you cooked the peas a little bit already, you cooked the pigtail a little bit already, so this is actually finished. So I'm going to switch this off. There we go. I'm going to put the lid back on here for now. When my dumplings are boiled, cooked, that means they float up to the top. Then we're going to strain it off, get everything together in a plate, and taste. When we're done with that, I'm going to make our special dessert of cassava pone. Okay, so my black-eyed peas with pigtail is ready. My dumplings are boiled and I strained them out. So I'm going to taste up everything, see how they came out. I just need 3 pieces. Okay, let me just get this out the way. Now for the peas. Perfect. Don't forget the pigtail. It's one of my favorite meats. There we go. So this is my cassava dumpling with black-eyed peas and pigtail. My dumpling has a really nice texture. It's not too stiff, not too soft. Sorry, I almost forgot you there. This tastes just like when my grandmother used to make it. I feel so nostalgic at this moment. But everything came together really nicely. There's enough gravy here. There's enough peas. The salt from the pigtails flavored everything evenly, so I didn't even have to add any more salt, which is a plus. Amazing meal. So I am going to make what is called a baked pudding bread-like kind of dessert. It's cassava pudding. We make it with cassava, coconut, spices, really good stuff. So stay tuned. When I get back, cassava pudding for desserts.